Hello, I'm Martin Portus. Let me introduce you to the idiosyncratic world of Les Robinson, the subject of Kieran Carroll's comedy drama. The Giraffe's Uncle has had critically acclaimed seasons in Melbourne and Sydney.
I was born in Paddington in 1886 and have never been more than 100 miles from Sydney.
Les Robinson was an eccentric writer on Sydney's bohemian scene between the 1920s and 60s, well known for living in caves around Sydney Harbour and playing his gramophone on the rocks.
We haven't a tent, but we don't pay rent. Hooray for Arabian Nights.
His comic and absurdist short stories are unique to Australian fiction. He was a contributor to The Bulletin, Punch and the Lindsay's magazine, Vision.
I should be grateful for paid work, but already I feel like a replenishing drink with a rat-bag companion or two up at Bill Snudden's Star on George Street, or a coffee at Mock Bells in Pitt Street, next to the Theatre Royal.
Beyond the life and unusual imagination of Les Robinson, The Giraffe's Uncle also tells a bigger story of Sydney's bohemian scene, of Australian suffering during the 1930s depression, and Les's friendship with major figures such as Kenneth Slessor, Douglas Stewart, and the Lindsays.
To everyone but a few, such as Ken, I'm nothing more than an alienated curiosity in the world of Australian letters.
Told with film, music and song, the play is a quest of one man to drag Australian literature out of the bush and into a more cosmopolitan future.
It is to push literature into the more exciting waters of cosmopolitanism and to build absurd, dreamlike worlds out of my experiences of the everyday.
But with only one book published, his short stories, it's the story of creative struggle. The struggle of a writer misplaced in his time and his society. The story of an hilariously introspective bohemian. What I think draws audiences to this one is Les's urgent eyeballing communication with them. He's desperate to be understood, to amuse, to be judged an expert on his times and his peers, and to finally win respect for his mad modernist take on life.
You don't need to knock, old friend, after all those letters you so kindly answered, and now you've come to visit. I've got a couple of extra sheep's tongues we can have for dinner.
So, Les Robinson speaks to us today, but he speaks from a generation now just beyond living memory, from an earlier, poorer Australia, a time of struggle and greater simplicities. It's an irony that Les Robinson tells us that he and his work would sit more happily in our time.